What's up, guys? Love the locker room, enjoy a punt, and you're looking for a way to support the show but also join the best punting experience in Australia? Inbox me for details on how to get started.
That's good. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? I am here with my man Dylan Farrell. What is going on, brother?
Yeah, not much, man. Thanks for having me, eh?
How you been? I mean, well, you had to retire, obviously, due to injury. I mean, what's been going on? Obviously, we've got Origin tonight. How have you been? What's been going on?
Yeah, not much. Yeah, so 2015, I was 24, so 26 now. Last Tuesday, I think it was. Yeah, so I spent my time in Bali with the family. Took a bit of time off work. But yeah, Origin tonight. Obviously, one of my favourite times of the year. I'm a very passionate Blues supporter. So
retiring at the ripe age of like 24, it's like you're just hitting your stride, Did it, with Origin tonight? Is there still love for the game? Like, do you still love it as much, or were you was there a few years where you're kind of like, I just can't watch it, man. I just can't do it.
Yeah, so I'm a massive fan of rugby league since a kid. I'd like to say I'm a nerd of the game. I used to watch every game, sometimes twice, when I first came into grade and stuff, and everything in the under 20s. Love the game, still love the game. Think I always will love the game. I didn't watch a whole lot of NRL last year, so that's the first year of me being retired. I didn't watch a whole lot. It was honestly, it was pretty hard to watch. Yeah. But it didn't sort of hit me too bad until maybe the start of this year. Yeah. So obviously I've been in rehab before. I've had injuries before. So last year it kind of just felt like I was in a rehab for the year. But yeah, this year when it's like I don't have any connections now with the Dragons, whereas last year I was doing sort of community work, going out to the junior club visits to schools. I sort of did that 3-4 days a week for the whole year. So it sort of still kept me, within the game.
And with the boys and that.
Getting me gear, seeing the boys every now and then. And then this year it's like they offered me to still do it, but it just didn't work out best for, what I'm trying to do at the moment. So I knocked that back. But this year it sort of hit me because it's like I don't have any connections. I still speak to close mates, but it's like, yeah, it's just weird to watch games now. So
100%.
Just when you think, 26 now, I should be playing my best footy. And I can't even play pub footy with my cousins and mates and stuff at the moment.
That's that's a tough gig. I mean, to think of 24 as you're projected to be whatever you wanted to be essentially as a footy player, and then to just kind of slowly. And I guess it was good that the Dragons gave you that year to make it a slower process of leaving so you could get used to it. I guess it was also good that the Dragons did offer you another year to work with the club. I mean, that's good by them because you're only at their club for 2 years?
Yeah, 2 years. So my whole career even at Souths, I've been really big on doing my community stuff. Yep. My dad works within the community. Every time I'd go home in the off seasons, I'd be doing stuff, in particular the Indigenous kids. So I'd always go on visits and go out to local missions and just that sort of stuff. Showing up to the Aboriginal knockout, I'd always be coaching a team, whether it be under 15s, under 17s, or whatever. So when I did the stuff last year, when I found out last year that I obviously had to retire, I spoke to the RPA. I found out what the go is with work with the Dragons. They informed me I was obligated to do 18 days. So after my 18 days was up, I literally didn't have to be there because it was just one of those unfortunate circumstances. But I love doing it, So I was there for 3-4 days a week at times. But it sort of caught up to me at the end of that year. It sort of ended up being not so much regretting it, but a little bit of a shit fight because I was sort of under the impression or led to believe that my insurance would be sort of sorted by the end of the year, So I thought, I'm still getting paid. I'll work. Even if I don't have to do it, I'll still do it because it's keeping me busy. It's keeping me in the game. It's getting me out of the house. I don't have to think about, my injury so much. Yep. And then I got to the end of the year and my money stopped and then I still hadn't heard a word about my insurance. And it's like I got to, October and it's my last payment. I'm going into November. I've literally just started a business which is making no money because I've just started it.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm having to pay wages. I'm not paying myself wage. Rent, everything, you name it. I'm paying all these things and I don't have the money to do it. It's what's going on? So I'm ringing up and just not getting anywhere with it. It's been, what is it now? Almost June. I still haven't heard from the insurance company. It's been 7 months since then, and I still haven't heard.
And who's responsible? Is it the NRLs? As in, obviously the NRL is doing what they're doing, and they do some great things. But every organisation isn't perfect. Is it the NRL not following up? Is it the insurance company just dragging their feet? Like, why is it taking so long for something that's so obvious?
Like, I can honestly say, I think it's a combination of a few different people.
Yeah.
Definitely not myself, because from day dot, I rang Paul McGregor in October. I was due to be back. So the year before, 2015, I hurt my back playing against Parramatta. It was like round 20 or something like that.
Yep.
Anyway, I tried to sort of play on with it for the rest of the year. Couldn't do it. I just struggled. Had a couple of cortisone injections, struggled to do it. Came semis. I had to pull out of playing. I played the week before, but I just struggled.
Yeah.
I said to Paul, like, I can't, mate. Like, I'm a liability for the team. It's semi-finals. You know, that was big for me to do. I'm Dragons first, like your second year at this club, we've made the finals.
Yeah.
And I couldn't play, like, and it was on me, you know.
Yeah, you're making the choice, kind of thing.
Yeah, and then so I thought I'll just rest it up. I'll get it ready for next year. So we've had our 6 weeks off, and man, over these 6 weeks, it's getting worse. Like, I'm thinking, fuck, how's this get worse?
Yeah,
like,
you have it off.
I'm doing like rehab that I've done before, and I'm not doing too much. I'm not doing nothing at all. I'm just resting it as best as I can, but at the same time trying to do some rehab.
Yeah.
And it got to a stage where like I couldn't even like sit down in the car for like 20 minutes without it just like my whole leg just aching. And it's like this is torture. So I rang Paul and I said, mate, I'm not ready to come back. Like I can't even sit down in the car, man. Like I'll come up and see you, but it's just not right, eh? He said, all right, come up, see the physios, and went up, seen them, and they're like, yeah, it's no good. Like, send me up, see the specialist. First specialist gets me to do new scans. I explained the injury to him.
So you'd already done scans and nothing come up?
I'd done. Oh yeah, stuff had come up, but it's stuff that they just thought they could get through.
Fixable, yeah.
So basically, they saw stress fractures, and they thought, oh, we can get through stress fractures. You know, have some rest, blah blah blah. When I got these scans, and he's just looked at this, and years ago I had. Also had a back problem, but it was a completely different injury, and it's sort of like aggravated that, so made that worse. But then it's added to the whole spine, so it's something that it basically can't be fixed if I'm going to play professional sport. I can fix it and make like everyday life better, like as in there is surgeries down the track that I could do, but. The both specialists said, look, if I gave you this surgery and you went and tried to play, like, I'll put my house on it here next year in my office, worse off. Like, it's just not, basically they said it's not worth it, you know.
Yep.
There's like a fusion, but then they said, if I get a fusion, with the way my back is, it's just going to put more pressure on a different part of my spine, and there's no guarantee the fusion's going to work. So basically it's like, oh, here, we can do a surgery for you. Definitely no guarantee it's going to work, and there's actually more chance it's going to make it worse. So, yeah.
Yeah, what's the point?
Yeah, so you see one, you think, oh, you know, that's one specialist's opinion. Let's hope the others is a bit different. Yeah. And mate, he dead set said word for word what the other guy said, and like they've got nothing to do with each other.
Yeah.
They're completely different organisations, but they're both spinal surgeons. And when you hear that, like I sort of like knew in my head, like I sort of knew it was going to happen. I was like, oh man, I know they're going to tell me I can't play. Like it's pretty bad. You know, you've had injuries in footy, and you just know you can't muck around with your back. Like people talk to me all the time too. Like, is it worth it? It's your spine. Like I've got a couple of kids, and
100%.
Life after footy, you hear all this stuff, and then I thought, well, yeah, maybe it's not worth it. And then but then to hear from two specialists that it's definitely not. Yeah. So it was an easy decision as far as I've got kids on life after football. Yeah, I need to do that. But so like from day dot, man, within a week, within 2 weeks, I did everything possible that I
all the paperwork, everything. Yeah.
So the NRL knew, the Dragons knew, and then so that's the Dragons really really pushed it because obviously they wanted to try and get me off their cap. Yeah. They then signed Timmy Laffey, so they basically signed him on my contract. So yeah, it's a bit disappointing because I can blame the Dragons a bit for this slow process because from what I've heard, and I won't say who, like on here, it's taken them a good year to even fully lodge it to the insurance company. So it's like this whole year I'm working for them 3-4 days a week. I'm not obligated to. Yeah. And then, it's just like, oh, here you go. Like, we'll start sorting it out now. But it's been 7 months, and then I've just heard last week, I rang the RLPA, which... If it wasn't for Mick Crocker at the RPA, like obviously he's an ex-player at South, so I'd play with him at South. So if it wasn't for him, man, I'd be nowhere. Like I was ringing him, and it's not even his job. Like, but I'd be ringing him constantly, and man, like I'm not hearing anything. Like no one's contacted me, and he'd be on to it straight away for me. And then finally, this lady. So my case was with someone that bloke's now left them, so then it's given to someone else. She's got to then catch up on my thing. And then I found out last week there's a new broker for the whole insurance thing. So the NRL have changed brokers. Didn't even tell the RPA. Once NRL didn't inform me, there's been a change of broker, and it's like so now they've got everything's going through the pipeline with a new broker. So it could still be months away.
Like, I mean, it could be a year away because of the way
the worst thing. I'm not guaranteed it. I'm not guaranteed it.
And to be clear to everyone, it's only 75% of the contract you did sign and were, supposed to be paid anyway.
Yeah, so the last year. So not even the whole contract. So I signed a 3-year contract with Dragon. So it's 75% of the last year of the contract.
And so you could have, if you really wanted to, you could have pretended that you were sweet and kept going to rehab and essentially just been in rehab all year and got paid and just, do you know what I mean? But
so what happened was, it's like, so you get your contract paid out, but then the year after it, you're supposed to get, because it's like, all right, my contract's finished here, but I would have signed again somewhere, whether, man, I could have signed somewhere for 75 grand for the next 5 years. It's still more than what I'm going to get now that I can't play at all, you know what I mean? So say it was just something like that, 75 grand or whatever. So I got paid out my contract, but then part of the insurance now is that you get 75% of your last year after your contract. That's to sort of go, that's sort of like your compensation to go, here you go, do your best with that.
Yeah,
and
you were most likely to earn at least another year.
Yeah, so that's how they sort of look at it. You're most likely to earn at least this. Obviously, being 24 years old, I would like to have thought maybe a little bit more. But I'm not fussed about that. I'm not trying to get some sort of massive compensation.
Yeah, that's the thing that I think a lot of people don't see is like you're not looking to get like millions in compo like some dude on a work site that loses his finger or something. Yeah. Obviously it's two different things, but. It's a very similar situation. You were hurt at work, and it's taken 19 months, and you still have no idea really what's going to happen.
Don't know, man.
And is Adam Docker's in the same situation? He doesn't know either.
Yep. So funny you said that before. I might actually give him a call maybe next week sometimes, or speak to him on Facebook and just see where he's at with it, because we sort of did the claim around the same time. But yeah, look, it's disappointing because, as you said before, I'm not trying to get millions of dollars out of some company for an accident. Like, I hurt my back playing football. I don't blame the game for it. Yeah. But, it's part of the protocol. I pay my insurance. I did that my whole career.
That's another thing. Yeah, you've been paying insurance your whole career.
It's in there. Like, that's what I'm entitled to. I've done everything I can possible to get it. Yeah. It's like, I'm at the stage where I'm like, man, just give me a yes or no answer then. Like,
so you can move on
with my life, because it's putting a hold on my life. Like, I can't, there's certain things in my life I can't sort of go ahead with because I'm waiting on this.
Yep.
So
and I guess mentally as well, you're sitting there, kind of like it just puts you in this weird position of are you going to get that money? If not, okay, accept the unfortunate situation of life and move on, or fight it or don't fight it. You know what I mean? There's like all of these different things, and like the crazy thing is you've paid your insurance, and like if in a perfect do people like if anyone had like he shouldn't get it or whatever, even though I doubt literally anyone would say that. Yeah. Like, you wish you were still playing. Like, oh my God. Like, you're 24. It's not like you're 35 and you're just like, okay, I'll just, say I've got an injury so that I can retire and get a bit of extra coin. You're in the prime. Right now you're 26. If you were going on the same trajectory as you were going, I mean, your estimated value would be like somewhere between 400 and 600. Like when you're looking at other guys that were playing.
The genuine centers and the wingers of the game, like, I mean, they're the ideal players getting that. But even half of that for another 5 years, it's outstanding. Mate, it's outstanding money. So like, I never took that side of it for granted. Yeah. But as far as how hard you've had to work to get it, like, you deserve it. You're not in rugby league for the rest of your life.
And you've paid the insurance. It's not like one of those situations where, I would have played footy, give me 75% of what I would have earned. You've been paying insurance. Like paying for something. Like, are they going to recompensate you for all of that lost money over those years? Yeah.
That's how it works in other jobs.
Yeah. Well, they get compensation.
Yeah. So, it's like, I'll pay. So, right, you got an injury, put you out for the rest of your life. They pay something like 80% for the rest of their life. Yeah. Like, I'm asking for 75% of 1 year.
Yeah, it's crazy,
and I'm only asking for that because that's what it is. Like, if there was nothing, I wouldn't be talking about it. I still would retire. I didn't retire for the money. I'd rather be playing.
100%. That's what I mean. 100%.
I retired because my back stuff.
Yeah, and you want to be able to walk with your kids.
Man, so that's another reason. When I made the decision, at that stage, I couldn't pick my kids up. Like I literally could not pick my kids up. So they'd come to me, like come home from school or whatever, and it's like, hey Dad, I'd have to sit down, they'd have to sit on my lap. Like I couldn't pick them off the ground to hold them because it hurt me. Like it put strain on my back, and I'd have to lay in bed for a couple of hours just to get this ache out of my legs.
Far
it's
out.
like I'm 24, laying around like an old cripple.
And another thing as well that you would have to deal with is obviously, painkillers. You had to deal with the fine line of taking painkillers, but not taking too many so that you get addicted to them.
Yeah.
Because it's such a fine line.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you see, you see the latest articles on Fox Sports about RLPA, and you see the boys coming much stronger together to represent each other. Is that something that you strongly support? And I guess you have a working experience of the lack of don't get me wrong, this is no knock on anyone that was in the RLPA.
Yep.
It's more probably the players' fault for not getting together.
Yep.
But we had a very weak RLPA over the last 10 years. It's only now we're getting together. And so when you see articles of, or even the NRL coming out and saying that the players are being greedy, is that like something where you're like, oh man, does that make you blood boil?
So frustrating.
Yeah.
Like, unbelievably. What's Cameron Smith, like one of the smartest players you'll ever meet.
Humble, ridiculous, everything.
He's obviously a smart person too. He's in charge of the RPA. The players have made him in charge. That's the thing. That's the difference to the RPA now. So there's 3 ex-players that are basically running it. So Michael Crocker, Anthony Quinn, and Clint Newton. So they're basically running it now. They're ex-players. They've all played at the highest level. All 3 of them have won comps. They're not asking. And at the same time, they weren't greedy. They just did what they were due to do. And they're just a voice for the players. They're still lucky enough to have really good mates that are high profiles of the game. So, back and forth, they can have these conversations. And asking for 30%.
I think it's only 27, I think.
Well,
it's not even,
what are we getting now? Is it 20?
It's something real low.
So it's like, because people have been saying, these players are already on this and already on that. So what happens? Like the game's growing, the game's getting more money every year. Who's the money go to? Like the CEOs and stuff of the game.
That's what I never got. 100%.
Where's it going to go?
I never got I was like, it's the number one game in the country. Arguably AFL or NRL, but it's so close that you could say they're both the number one game in the country. So what I don't get is where does the money go? Where does it go? Because it's not going to the players, and also I think a lot of people don't realize is it's not the top tier that are genuinely asking for more.
No.
Don't get me wrong, they will take it if they're offered it. But it's these guys, they understand that there's guys in the middle that are earning, very average for what. So let's say it's $100,000 a year, and people are like, that's $100,000. That's $100,000 for the rest of their life because they can only do it for 10 years. So let's say we average that out over just 30 years. Yeah. That $100,000 goes down to about, $40,000. And then if we added in the fact that that's time spent not earning qualifications, not getting yourself in the workforce, making yourself less valuable to companies. Yeah. So it's crazy. I can only imagine how angry it must make you feel watching the NRL coming out saying these boys are being greedy, and you're sitting there just going, look, I'm still waiting 19 months later with no help from the NRL. No one's calling me and saying, here's a job or here's a gig or here's some money to get you by just until you get the payment and then you can pay us back. Yeah. Because did the NRL call you or anything?
No one from the NRL has called me. That's as I said, I've only kept in contact with basically Mick Crocker at the RLPA. Yeah. No one from the Dragons has called me. It's no one. No one has called me. I could you see these suicide things. I was in a position luckily I'm pretty strong-minded, had a really good family support unit, but man, 6 months ago I had to sell my house because I couldn't afford to pay my business off, which was coming. That was started.
Which you'd planned to use the money that you get.
I thought, righto, I've got a bit of money here. I'll put it into this business. I'll start the business. I've started the business under the influence, being sort of talked into thinking that my money was going to be sorted. So I gave him a year. It's not like I was give it to me now. It was a whole year.
12 months.
I've waited 12 months thinking it'd be sorted. Yeah. I didn't pursue anyone because I'm still working for them. So I'm thinking these guys are doing their job. I'm doing my job. They're doing their job. And then you get to the year later and you think, and then I just remember got my last payment and I thought, maybe I'll give them a call, see where this insurance is at. And then it's just it's nowhere. No one had an answer for me. It's always stuffing me around. And not one person from the Dragons, not one person from the NRL since my basically finishing up there in 2015 2016, sorry, has contacted me. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, so I'm getting a Christmas. We're 3 months into my business, so I've opened up one of the F45 franchises
in Nowra.
Yeah, in Nowra. Yep. So I've opened that up. It's going really well, but like any business, it takes time to
get the money back.
Yeah,
to
100%. Get the money back. So, and I'm having to pay wages for my staff and whatnot, and we don't have enough members yet to pay it off. It's just this business, which I knew, that's fine. But as I said, I'm led to believe my insurance money is sorted, which would have covered me. So I get to December, Christmas, and man, I'm getting calls from the banks left, right, and centre. I can't pay my bills. It's like I was at the lowest of the low, man. Like I've never been that. Like, you know, I was just like, what am I going to do? Like, I'm getting calls from the banks every day, and the business is going well for where it's at, but it's not doing enough to pay my house, pay wages. So I had to sell my house. So I've even spoke to someone at the Dragons, and I'm like, man, like, can you talk to them for me? Like, I spoke to one of the guys at the community. So the community side of things, I spoke to him at a day up in Wollongong. They had like a local Indigenous side versus a non-Indigenous side, and they asked me to coach it. The CEO of the colleague asked me to coach it, and I was stoked, you know. Yeah. And I bumped into a Dragons community member there, explained to him, I said, man, like, I just lost my house, like literally just lost my house. I'm still now living at my partner's nan's house just because it's close to the gym. So I'm living there. It's 3-bedroom house. There's me and my 2 kids. We also we look after Hayley's younger sister, so she's been living with us for a few years now. So like we've all moved into her nan's place because I couldn't afford to pay my house off, you know. And it's like, and then it's been 7 months or 6 months since then. Still no word. Or actually, a word last week because I call them, and it's actually like basically saying it could be longer because they've changed brokers. The NRL have changed brokers. Like you think like. So, all right, the NRL, you're going to change brokers. Yeah, I'm a little person compared to the whole NRL, but there wouldn't be too many insurance claims going on at the moment. And if you're going to change brokers, you think that someone at the NRL would personally contact you to let you know? Yeah. But nah.
Like, and another thing as well is like, surely at least someone can take care of the injured guys. Like, just call the guys that have had their careers ended by injury.
Yeah.
And, you know, like let's say there's 20 staff at the NRL and you go, all right, Bob or Sally, your job once a week is to give those injured guys a call, see how they're doing, and if they're all right. If they ignore your call, they don't want to talk to you, then you don't have to call them. But, you know, just to see if they're okay. But to think that, like, another thing that's, you know, the irony, or not even the irony, the heartbreak or whatever, to lose a house that you broke your body for, because the only way you would have paid for that house is by playing footy. Yeah. To lose that is kind of like a symbol of the where you're at. You know, you just lost something that you broke your body for, and no one's calling you and going, you all good, can we help you? Far out, man. It's just like...
So when I say before, no one from... so Andrew Ryan, he now looks after a side of the...
Another ex-player.
Yeah, so Andrew Ryan looks after basically ex-players, not necessarily ex-injured players, just ex-players, tries to have like a lunch and stuff. I got a message off him a couple of months ago, but that's because I'm still good mates with Dan Hunt, so Dan Hunt would have been talking to him.
Talking to him about it.
Yeah, so... Dan Hunt's like the only guy from the Dragons that, like, as in he's a staff member now. He's the only guy that has contacted me. But he's got nothing to do with, he just literally rang me because we're mates. So, like, how you going?
Yeah,
like,
and he's in the mental health industry kind of thing.
Yeah, he's in the mental health industry, and he went through the insurance claim. So he'd be just ringing me up. Just so, and I'd call him every now and then, ask him certain questions about it and whatnot. But other than that, man, like, it sort of blew me away. Like, because when I narrow it down, like, I went above and beyond for them that last year. I was obligated for 18 days, but I did 3 to 4 days a week. And like, I'll be down Eden, I'll be up at Cogra, I live in Nowra, like, and I'll be driving there, like, and I wouldn't be asking for any petrol money for doing it and whatnot. And I just did it. I enjoy doing the community side of things, you know. So, but when you look at it like, well, I got to the end of the year and I did way more than I could have been working that whole year somewhere. I could have got a job somewhere.
You could have been building
to save some money,
100%.
To help out my business for. You know,
could have got a trade, like
TA. I can't even get a trade.
Yeah,
I'm back. Yeah, so that's the first thing the specialist said was like, you're not going to be able to do a trade or any sort of job like that. So I was like, oh well.
I mean, that's another thing that like you should be compensated for that. Yeah. If you can't do a trade again, which is like something that a lot of footy players would get into. Yeah. That's a whole industry that is so important, and it is the way that, you know, most rugby league players aren't from a privileged background with heaps of education. So they need to get into a trade, even though tradies make more than most, you know, privileged people. But man, I didn't even know that. So you can't even get a trade.
Yeah, I can't even get a trade. Like, I just wouldn't last, man. Like,
your back would just
the back was just gone. Like, at the moment, I own an operator of the F45 gym, and you do demonstrations. I don't know if you've seen how the classes run, but you demonstrate all the drills.
Yep.
But I mean, some of the things we do is like, it's like good for my back. Like it's like a rehab type,
function
type
stuff.
thing. Yeah. And the things that I can't do, I palm off to my other trainer.
Yeah.
So.
And you couldn't do that on a workshop, trust me, bro.
I couldn't do that for 8 hours of the day. Like, we smash out a few classes, have a good break.
No one would hire you.
Yeah,
I've been, as I said, I've been in the industry, electrician, industrial. There's not a chance. Like, they just wouldn't risk it because because if you did do your back again or something happened at work, they actually would have to pay you compensation like a normal industry pays compensation.
And like, I've already been told I can't do this, can't do that. So they'd be,
they're like, why would we hire?
I wouldn't even go for it because,
no, they wouldn't. They just wouldn't.
And once again, I'm just setting myself up for failure. Like, I'm setting myself up to do my back in again or whatever. So, like, it's been nearly 2 years, I'm 26, and I still have to watch my daily, daily exercises. Yeah, I've got to basically modify my life for the rest of my life. And it's like, I just wanted an answer. Basically, I just want a yes or no answer, and I can move on with it. So, am I going to get it? No. You know what I mean? So it's like, right now, living at the Mrs. Nan's house, the gym is finally turning over some good money, but we're obviously investing a lot back into it to pay off,
and paying off the stuff. Yeah.
And no bank's going to give me a loan now to buy a house because I've only been paying myself a wage for 3 months now. Yeah. So couldn't afford to do it that whole time at the start. And if anything, they'll probably see a bit of bad bad credit.
Yeah, because you missed payments and that.
I had to ring the banks and get I can't remember what it's called.
The relief.
The hardship. So I had to do that. Like, that was embarrassing for me. I was like, I'm going to ring the bank and tell them I can't pay my mortgage. Like, can you give me a couple of months off? Yeah. So then it's like, all right, I've got to sell my house. Even worse than that, like, I sold before auction because I needed the money as quick as I could get it. So, like, pretty confident in the real estate too. Pretty confident. Probably could have got more at auction, but it's like I needed that money as quick as I could get it. Yep. So I couldn't even make as much investment in the house as I could. It was depressing, man. It's just like,
the crazy thing is like, you can hear the story, you can empathize with it as much as you possibly can, but you're the one that's living it day in, day out, every second of your life. It's kind of like trying to tell someone about going to an army camp. Like, I can tell you how hard it is, but until you actually experience the hardship of like losing everything, having to retire, having no money, losing your house, being owed all this money. I mean, I hope it gets sorted. I hope the RLPA, there's some more avenues as they get stronger kind of thing to help you out kind of thing.
Man, a couple of years ago, if it was how it was then, I probably wouldn't have even bothered with the insurance, to be honest. Like, I just don't think it would ever happen. Like, you still push for it now because at the moment I'm working. So if I can get the money, I'll do whatever I can to get it. But it's like, how long? Like,
19 months.
And what do I need to do? Like, if you need to send me for more scans, I'll do it. Like, if you need me to see another doctor, I'll do it. I'll do whatever you need me to do. Just like, let me know. Like,
give us direction. Man, that's
that's right. There's no direction, and it's torture, man.
Mate, 100%. We'll take us back to a young Dill. Where you grew up in near Nowra, did you say?
Yeah, so Culburra Beach. It's like 20 minutes east of Nowra, so on the beach,
Yep. And, was it always footy? What was growing up for you? Obviously, you're Indigenous.
Yep.
So was it very, obviously not traditional in the sense of traditionally Indigenous, but were you pretty ingrained within your culture or, just...
Yeah. So it's funny, we can get heaps deep into that, but how do I explain it? I grew up on an Aboriginal mission. It's called Jerrinja. It's in a town of Culburra. It's 3,500 people in Culburra. I'll grow now, but so on our mission, there's like 22 houses. Most of us, we're connected or related in some way, shape, or form. Yeah. We were moved. My ancestors were moved from a mountain in Charlevoix Heads called Coolangatta. It's known as Coolangatta Mountain now. There's a big wine estate there. So my ancestors from that mountain moved onto this mission across the river, where they've been since early 1900s.
What was the reason for the moving?
Because they wanted. So Alexander Berry founded Coolangatta Mountain. They still use those. It's funny they still use those terms. So when they say founded, it's basically he discovered it, but there's people living there.
There's people living there.
My ancestors are living there, and they still use those terms on the radio now locally. So it's like, whatever. So Alexander Berry moved. They basically just
That's crazy. This is crazy to like. It's crazy how such a different, like, you hear that radio and you're sitting there going, fuck, man.
Yeah.
Like, are you serious?
Yeah.
No compensation, and just like, see you later.
So,
Whereas like other people are like, oh, great, local wine.
Yeah, that's it. They've actually got a tour there. They do this big tour on this massive truck, and there's not one bit of history of the actual mountain of Aboriginal people. And it's a very, very significant mountain to my ancestors, like massive to my family. 2 years ago, they gave us back a bit of the mountain. Like they were like, it was a big thing for us. And then I went and visited with my dad with his program, and it's like you have to walk through this guy's private property to get to it, and like you've got to ask him permission to sort of, hey man, we're going to be here today. Like it's like, what's the point of giving that?
Yeah, like it's not really.
It's like
not really yours.
Here you go, because there's no house there or anything. It's like, yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy, and that baffles me that they still use those terms, founded. We can't, like, surely we're past that. Like we're past. No, we can't change the past, and I don't expect anyone in this day and age to be sorry. Like you can empathise for it. I know you had nothing to do with it. I don't expect you to be sorry, but
so your ancestors had a very, I guess, I don't know if it was sacred, but I assume it seems like it was a sacred kind of part of their community, taken away from them by a wine company kind of thing.
There's winery there now. So they lived basically on and around the mountain. There's sacred sites on and around the mountain. Berries are pretty. It's called Berry because Alexander Berry once again founded Berry. There's sacred sites all around there, but people's houses and stuff are on those now. So it's like, even if we tried to do a land claim to get those back,
there's no point.
How do you kick someone off there?
Yeah,
like, it's not his fault. He bought a house. I wouldn't feel. I'd feel guilty as about doing it. You know?
Yeah, you know what's crazy is like I think like that message gets lost in the politicisation of the message from Indigenous people. Like so, politicians take the issue of the Indigenous people and they politicise it for their own end, and they get the message lost that like I'm not speaking for most Indigenous people, obviously I'm not Indigenous, but what my sense is like most Indigenous aren't trying to take anything away from anyone. No. They just want some reconciliation. They just want some,
like with me, like, and I mean, you can get some people that are just taking the piss and they just want everything to go back to, which it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But like little things like using the word like founder, like Alexander Berry, the founder of, he's not the founder. Like stop using these sort of words. Like those terms, like I'm 26, man, but and that term hurts me. So I can only imagine what it does to my great aunties and I've lost my grandparents, but like great aunties and stuff. Like they don't want to hear that. Like they've been literally forcibly removed from where they live. And when you go back to culture before, like I'd love to say I'm a strong cultural person, and I do know as much as I've been taught. But like, so from Sydney, La Perouse, right down the coast, basically the southeast coast of Australia, obviously was hit first by colonisation. So from the get-go, my ancestors were forbidden to teach.
Okay, so you're further away from that point.
You can go to Dubbo, you can go to Walgett, and like they'll know their language, they'll know their heritage.
Yep.
You can come to Nowra, and there'll be people there that they couldn't even tell you exactly where they're from because from a young age, their grandparents or their great-grandparents were forbidden to speak language, forbidden to teach dance. Everything that we learnt was through song and dance, and that was forbidden a long, long time ago.
And like key word there, forbidden. Like how crazy to think that it was forbidden.
You did it, you were whipped or you were hanged or like that. You could legally. They legally could. That's what people don't learn in school.
I mean, I didn't.
You could legally kill an Aboriginal person back then for something like that. Like, and this is the reason they were put onto these missions so that they couldn't do that. So that they were basically policed. They were told when they can and can't eat, and they were basically brought there to be brought up as maids,
gentrified kind of thing.
Yeah, and farmers, like just labourers. That's sort of how like it's funny because one of my if someone asks sort of my Aboriginal heritage, I can go back and say I'm a carpenter, and that goes back to one of my great uncles who was Jack. He obviously had a traditional name, but they named him Jack, and then his last name was Carpenter because he helped out with the tools. So it's like it sort of turned out like that. But
and that's how much they influence the kind of flow of culture to you, kind of thing. Whereas if you went like maybe to Northern Territory, even though there's so much issues going up there, they would be maybe closer to their flow of culture kind of thing.
Well, we lived there for 18 months when I was younger. My dad was a park ranger, national park ranger. He took a job up there, just a bit of
man, some of the stuff they do is amazing.
Yeah, so like they still some of those guys and some of Dad's best mates still live off the land. Like I could tell you a story about one of his workers.
Yeah.
He was the last traditional owner of his land. He went through a 5-year court case. A mining company was trying to pay him off. They offered him over $2 billion. So
What?
yeah, I think it was uranium. There's uranium under the soil there. And
$2 billion.
$2 billion.
Because it's uranium. Uranium's for...
It was either uranium or opal. It was something... I think it might have been uranium.
Uranium's like ridiculous. I
Yeah,
think,
so they've offered him over $2 billion. And this is like $2 billion. He's the last of his kind, so it would have solely went to him. But he obviously didn't want to do it strong culturally. So he went through this court case to try and to win. He ended up winning. He won it about 4 years ago now. And he signed it over to national parks, so now it can never be mined. So national parks.
Really?
Yeah, so he knew if he kept it himself, eventually these guys, money talks,
Yeah.
So eventually they'd get it. So he signed it over to national parks, which he works for anyway. So now basically it's national parks, and you can't build on national parks. $2 billion.
Because I'm pretty sure. Like, I mean, I don't know shit about uranium, but I could be wrong. But I think uranium's in like bombs and shit. Like I could be. So it's like extremely rare.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, let's fucking Google that shit. $2 billion, bro. That's fucking.
Yeah, that's a shitload of money.
That is like. Oh my god, dude.
See, and and people that like back then when so I moved to Souths at I was 16 years old, and like I said before, they don't teach anything culturally in the schools. You get told a bit by your aunties and uncles, but we got told a few stories, got showed a few some medicines. They take us to our traditional grounds, teach us some dance. But as far as like my actual family's heritage, it's hard to know because my older aunties and older uncles, because they were forbidden to speak it, like it was hurtful to them. So it was like they didn't pass it on.
Yep.
So like bits got through. But like I said, you could go to someone from Walgett, like my age, and I guarantee you he'll speak some language. Or go to someone from like inner Queensland or Northern Territory, and they like basically we're colonised, So
so
as much as we'd love to push the culture through, and we still do in certain areas. Colonised.
I guess it was also your culture. I could be wrong, but it was a traditionally verbal culture, not much like written down. So passing on,
nothing written at all. So basically, you could write It's funny because when I first went to South, there was a couple of boys that had tattoos of their tribes, like Dunghutti.
Yep.
So Bo Champion and Greg Inglis both have a Dunghutti tattoo, and they're spelled differently. And I remember someone saying something about they spell it differently, and I was like, well, Aboriginal language wasn't written, so there's no wrong or right way to spell it.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah,
so you can actually, like, as long as it sounds correct.
Yeah.
Because it's, what's the word again? It's something like a traditional, like, passing down through the use of stories and talking rather than writing down kind of thing.
100%. It was never written. So you literally can't spell an Aboriginal word wrong.
That's crazy.
It wasn't a written
That's
language.
cool. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Uranium, depleted uranium is used in kinetic energy penetrators and armor plating. Uranium is used as a colorant, glass, and nuclear power reactors.
There you go.
God damn, that's why it was $2 billion. They would have made like $100 billion off it. Yeah. That's crazy. And he said no.
Yeah, said no.
God damn.
That's strong, eh?
And I mean, I guess if you wanted an example of how much the land means to the Indigenous culture, like, because that's I think that some people struggle to empathise with, is like we have a very materialistic view of what the way we live in Western culture. So when we look at Indigenous culture, we really struggle to see, like, what does the land mean? Like, just move house or just move this. So we struggle to make that connection. And I guess that's a good example of like a dude turned down $2 billion.
Yeah, see,
$2 billion.
Like Western civilization is saying, what is land? Let's sell it.
Yeah.
But in his mind, he's going, what is money? I don't need that.
Yeah,
I can literally live off the land. Like, I can catch my own food.
Yeah.
I know my own medicines.
I can live for the rest of my life with this land.
I do not need money.
Yeah.
So, like,
what's that money going to do to me? I can't buy a kangaroo. Like you can, but you can't. Off the land.
Doesn't need to. It's there on his land.
Man, that's crazy. Yeah, so that's like such a sick story. Like, it's so good that he stayed strong and gave it to the national park. Yeah. He outsmarted him. That's as good as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you grew up in down near Nowra.
Yeah.
So was it always footy for you, or did you always love it? Was it AFL? Was it soccer?
No. So footy. My family, basically my whole mission. They're fishermen before they're anything. So they're all fishermen, proper nets, proper like. I've got an uncle who's got a license that no one else in Australia has.
Oh wow!
For particular beaches in Jervis Bay, and all through growing up, we used to do that. So They were fishermen first, and then obviously footy, like love footy. So I started playing 5 years old. I was always going to play footy. My dad played at the lower grades at Parramatta. Big drive for me in my life was my dad. He came home from Parramatta, just got homesick, just sort of couldn't do it, and he regrets that, to this day. So that's why he sort of did everything he could to give me the best chance I could to play, and there would have been no one prouder than my dad when I played. Yeah.
When you made your debut, so when was the kind of moment when you realised, wow, I could actually do something here. I could genuinely be a professional athlete. Yeah.
So under 14s, we moved up to the Central Coast for a few years. That's another story there. Like, there's a bit of drama with drugs and alcohol in the community I grew up.
Yep.
So when we sort of got to that stage in our lives, so I'm the second oldest. I've got an older sister, younger brother, and a younger sister.
Yep.
So my dad decided when we got to that stage where it's like, all right, they're going to start, going out, like, trying things. I want to get them away from this stuff. So sort of like took us away to grow up without that influence of our, like, because unfortunately it happens within my family. And, we're very lucky to have the parents I had. We switched on heads. So we moved up the Central Coast where my mum's got some family, her nan, brothers and whatnot. So that was year 7. And under 14s, I was playing rugby union at the time. Like, so league on a Saturday, union on a Sunday. It's like when you're a kid, you just want to play as much sport as you can.
It's crazy, eh?
Yeah,
as you get older, you're like, man, good not doing anything.
One game, you're done. But like as a kid, I was touched 3 nights a week. Like, footy on a Saturday, union on a Sunday. That's just how my whole childhood sort of was. And one game, one of the Ella brothers, Glenn Ella, he actually had a good mate that coached an opposite team of who I played against, and he basically just called him straight away and said, mate, you got to come watch this kid play. And they sort of signed me as a 14-year-old to.
Oh wow!
They were managing at the time.
Yep.
And I thought, this is pretty cool. But they sort of pointed me in the direction of rugby union. So for a couple of years, I sort of still played league, but I drove for union. Like they sort of talked me into trying to push to play rugby union. I'm trying to New South Wales country areas and whatnot. Got to 16, moved back to the South Coast. Still managed by those guys, the Ellis brothers, and tried out for the under 16s Aboriginal Indigenous side, so the Australian side.
Yep.
They go away to the championships up in Brisbane, and my coach at the time was really good friends with Mark Hughes. Mark Hughes at the time was a recruitment officer with South Sydney Rabbitohs. So when I got back from this thing, he sort of gave Mark a call, sent him up my footage. Mark Hughes gave me a call.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, yeah, sweet. Like, at that time, I was doing the pre-season with SG Ball for Steelers.
Okay, yep.
And, so I did that whole pre-season as a 16-year-old with the Steelers. And then come Christmas time, both the clubs, so Dragons and Souths, put a contract on the table for me for, like, the under-20s. And they were both the exact same money, exact same amount of years and everything. But the opportunity, once again, Dad was like, right, you're 16 now, like, if you played the Dragons, you're going to be here at home. Like, you're going to be
around all your mates,
around all your cousins. And I was like, you go to Souths. And funny enough, the Indigenous vibe at Souths, like, so the area,
quite strong there.
La Perouse, Redfern, you know, like our South Coast always have ties to the La Perouse community, and the fact that they had, Nathan Merritt, Bo Champion, all these sort of guys at Souths.
Were you going to say then?
No, he wasn't there then. But there was quite a few Indigenous people. David Peachy, like, these guys were all at Souths, and like a chance to come up and possibly train with the 20s and one day hopefully play for Souths was, I took it, and it was just a chance to grow up by myself. So I was 16-year-old. I moved to Sydney. I lived with a boarding family, and from there I spent the next 6 years at the club. And
so you move up, and so like at that stage you still would have been like, because it's weird, because like from outside looking in, you're like, okay, these kids, there's a pretty good chance I'll play NRL. But when you're actually in it, you're like, man, I don't know if I'm going to play NRL. Like, you're like, every week you're like, please get a call up, please get a call up. But when you're looking out, you're like, oh, he's playing good footy, he'll most likely move on to play NRL. But when was it for you that you got asked into the first grade squad, and then you realised, okay, this is actually happening now?
Well, funny. So first moved up to Souths. I signed my contract with them. It's funny. The seniors and the juniors are two different clubs at Souths. That's something that I still think now they need to get on top of. Like, they're owned by different people. So Mark Hughes was with the seniors, so that's under 20s and NRL. He seen me as a potential Toyota Cup player. The year I went was the very first year Toyota Cup brought into the comp, so it's obviously a lot of buzz around it. You know, the buzz around it's massive. These guys, we're getting the same gear the NRL was getting. You know,
it's crazy.
They weren't tight with it that first year. It was huge, and so I've come up there. It's funny. I did so it's January to February, whatever. You trained with the SG ball. I trained with 20s once a week, but mostly trained with the SG ball to obviously play SG ball, and then when you finish that season, you go into the 20 squad if you're good enough.
Yeah.
We played 2 trials of SG ball. Got to finish the second trial. All right, they did a cut, then they had the final cut. I'm back down home this weekend where I get a call from a guy. Hey mate, just want to let you know, unfortunately didn't make the cut this year, but I would like you to come back next year and try it again. And I was like, what? So what are you talking about, man? He's like, yeah, mate, sorry, like blah blah blah. I was like, you're taking the piss, like I'm contracted already. Like it was just weird. Yeah. So I went, what the fuck? So I rang Mark Hughes straight away. I said, mate, I just got a call from a bloke named, I can't remember his name to be actually. I said, I got a call from a bloke named this. He's just told me I didn't make the team. Like, what's going on? And he's like, you're kidding me. I said, what do you mean? I was like, mate, he called me. He said, come and try again next year. He's rang him up. He's I'll ring you back in a minute. He's rang me back like 15 minutes later, blowing up, going, it's fucking legit. It's fucking legit. Like, he's saying, it was Craig Coleman. Craig Coleman said, you can't tackle. Like, you can't tackle.
What?
They didn't pick you up. I said, I was like, what do you mean, man? Like, I've just moved from home.
Yeah.
Just turned down my contract at Steelers because I told I'm playing here. I said, well, like, what am I going to do? And like, anyway, this went on for about 2 weeks of me like going, I'm going back home, you know, going back home to play club footy. And Mark Hughes talked me into staying. So he talked me into staying, but I had to play for the Bears. Man, Bears in SG Ball and Harold Matts are terrible. Like, this is the guys that don't.
So you had a contract with the Rabbitohs, but you got cut from the SG
contract with the under 20s, but I couldn't make the under 18s. So I've gone to the Bears.
Just shows you, man. Like,
yeah, like good club and like met some really good friends there. But like without disrespecting them, it's usually, unless you're a junior from the area and you want to play for them, it's usually
there's not many resources in it.
You usually couldn't make another team, so you just wanted to play your ball, so you'd go to the Bears. And that's of no disrespect. I was one of those players. So.
Yeah, yeah.
So I get there. I play. Yeah, I played the year. I played 5 games of SG ball. I played the first 2. I got suspended for like 5 weeks for like a spear tackle. Played the next 3 or 4. Went back to club footy, which is I had to sign up with the local club, so it was La Perouse Panthers. Anyway, I played a few games of Panthers, and then there was but that's another thing that Mark Hughes said. He goes, come up. He goes, play for the Bears, but you can train 3 nights a week with 20. So that was the incentive I had. It was like, all right, so I have to play for the Bears, but I'm mostly training with the 20s.
Yeah.
So we'd be training after the SG ball. So I'd be like, it was such a weird
weird.
feeling. Like, and I'd be like jogging past them with the 20s, and it's like they'd be like looking at me going, you couldn't even make this team. How are you training with them?
Yeah.
So weird. Anyway, so a few games gone by, and SG ball, like a few players that were good came to train with us, and I ended up being the first guy out of all the guys that were even in the 18s that played under 20s.
Oh,
and I ended up playing. So I was only 17, so I was a year younger for SG ball. I couldn't make Souths under 18s, but I played the last 10 games of Souths under 20s. So when Eddie Payer and Chrissy Sander, when those guys would be in and out of the 20s to first grade, that's when I'd come up.
Yeah.
And then the back end of the year, we got a centre injured, and my coach at the time, Alan Wilson, his name was, he asked if I'd like to play centre. I said, mate, I'll play anywhere.
Yeah.
And then I ended up actually going all right at centre, because
what position did you play?
I went there as a 5'8".
As a 5'8".
Yeah,
I
went to the club as a 5'8", and ended up going to centre, and I took a liking to it. And then next year come around, I got a full offer of another 2 years of just under 20. So I still could have played SG ball, but I ended up playing 20s full time.
You didn't go to that trial again, that's for sure.
No way, I didn't. And it was just, I just thought, how funny is this? Like, I couldn't make the under 18s.
Yeah. And
I'm playing under 20s. Like,
that's insane. It just shows you, like, one coach's opinion could have ruined your career. You could have thrown the towel in and said, see you later.
Like, if Mark Hughes hadn't said, like,
please just
stay. You'll train full time. Like, the chance to, as I said, Toyota Cup it just came in that year.
It was big. Yeah.
It was big. So, like,
and it was a high quality too. People don't realise the first year was a good quality.
Man, and I'm 17. Like, I remember my first game, like, I was playing 5'8", and guys like, I was playing against like Jamal Idris. It was against the Bulldogs, Jamal Idris, Benny Barber, and those guys, you know.
Yep.
And I'm like, and Jamal's only a year older than me, but he was massive, man. Massive, yeah. And I'm just going like, I'm 17. Like, what am I? I've only played for the Bears and La Perouse. My last 3 or 4 games have been for La Perouse Panthers, but I had you have that little bit of confidence because I was training with the 20s full time, you know. So that was good. But 2 years. I spent 2 years in the 20s, and before I got offered a contract with the first grade, where I still had 2 years of 20s. So I was in the first grade squad, and I'd go back to 20s when I didn't play grade. Yeah. And 2010, I was like round 22. It was purely luck, man. Like it's around 22. I'm at home, like about to and it's probably an hour or 2 away from leaving to go play 20s. Yeah. I'm hanging the clothes in the line.
Oh, so you're ready to go play?
Yeah, I'm ready to go play 20s. My phone rings. John Lang. I'm thinking, this is weird, man. Like John Lang was the first grade coach at the time. Hey mate, he's just like, hey mate, how do you feel about playing tonight? Bestie's just called in sick. Like Colin Best and Bo Champion were the centres at the time.
What?
Bo Champion had already pulled out injured, so Jamie Simpson came in for him. Then Colin Best pulled out on that day, and there was literally no one else. Like all our backup were injured
in that.
I was like basically the last person in the squad to play, at last back to play, you know.
Yep.
If you go back to that night, we had so many players out. Like Sam Burgess was at the club out, Dave Taylor was at the club out. There was like Luke Stewart at the club out. Like it was all these players out. Bo Champion out, Colin Best out.
So what did he say to you? You're ready to go?
He just said, man, are you ready to go? And I was just like, yeah, man. And he's like, so do you want to play left? Because we had both centres out. He said, do you want to play left centre or right centre? And I said, right. And he's like, you'll be up against Chris Lawrence and Lottie Dakiri. And I was like, yeah, well, like that's the side I feel most comfortable on. I'll do with it. And then he's like, yeah, no worries, man. We'll be at the game at this time. And I'm just like, so straight away, like rang my dad. Like they came up to all my games anyway, so he was already coming up.
Yep.
Rang a few of my cousins who they were out in Canberra, and they're like they were out the night before, so they were still in Canberra.
Yeah.
And they were like, no way, like fuck, like jumped on their bus, drove it back, jumped in a car, drove straight to Sydney. Like with about 4 hours notice, I had like 20 people at the game. And
4 hours notice, and so 4 hours notice, and you're sitting in the change room, looking across to the other first graders with the first grade jersey on. What was that feeling like?
Man, as I said, like you train with them full time, so you already know who they are. But you're walking in, like it's
a way different experience.
So different. Yeah. Like it's like everything is a blur in the background. Like I'm walking past the 20 sheds. They're like warming up to play. I'm walking to the first grade sheds. I'm like first grade and 20s have different sheds with Souths. Yeah. They've got their own one. Yeah. I've walked in there and I've just like sitting down. Nathan Merritt, like a player I've looked up to my whole life, is now going to be the winger outside me.
And they're all like men, and everything's professional, and there's like signage and like the staff are all there, and it's like. It's just like a blur, right? You're like, what am I doing
here?
The
boys they've just all come up, shake my hand, fucking oath, bro. Like, congrats, like, good luck, like you'll be right. Just do what you do. And
so what was something you remember from that night or day?
From the debut?
Yeah.
I ended up scoring 3 tries.
Oh, really? Actually, I think I remember that. Yeah. Wow, yeah. 3 tries, and you got 4 hours notice, bro.
Yeah, it's like 3, and then like the last one was on the 90th minute in extra time, like to win the game.
To win the game.
Like
it's the best debut ever.
Yeah. First touch of the ball, man. Knock on.
Swear to God.
First touch of the ball, Reece Wesser gets it off a scrum, comes across field, hits me short, knock it on.
Knock it off. Were you rattled as?
I'm in for a game here. And like Chris Lawrence at the time had played a couple of games for Australia. Lottie Dakiri, as a kid, I supported the Broncos. Like, I love Lottie Dakiri, man. Like, and I'm like, he's the winger I'm up against. And
he's big too.
Benji Marshall, Robbie Farrell, like
when the Tigers,
yeah, man. Like they could play footy. The Tigers could play footy, and I was just in awe. Like, I didn't have to do a whole, like, in all honesty, I had to do shit off me tries. I was like, right place, right time. But
still,
the experience of it, man, it was crazy.
That's crazy. 3 tries on debut and 1 to win it.
Yeah, the 1 to win it at the end, which you look back at it now, man. Reece Wesser probably threw a 5-metre forward pass, like dead set. It's like
it was just meant to be for you that night, bro.
It was just meant to be. It was just one of those days, eh?
What was the so when you first knocked out, were you just like, oh no?
I just put my head down. And I tried to brush it off, like just
Nothing.
like in 20, if you make an error, like just get back to it was just like but in my head I'm thinking, you just knocked the ball on, man.
Like, first.
It's your first run in NRL. You've finally got to play NRL. Like, what the fuck are you doing, mate? Pull your head in. Like, you just knocked the ball on. Catch it. You had one
And
job.
there's like a big crowd too, where it's different to 20s. Is like there's not a big crowd, whereas you're in the cauldron of people watching.
It's like, all right, here's the guy debuting. Here's his first run out. Knock on.
Did you watch your commentators? What did they say? Have you watched the game?
No, I didn't. I would have, 100%. I would have watched it 100 times. I can't remember that particular time. Like, everything else sort of took over that bit. But, I just remember that happening.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, there was...
Knock on to 3 tries, bro.
Yeah.
It's sick.
Ended up working out pretty good. It was good.
So you made your debut, scored 3 tries. So did you stay in the side the next week?
So the next week, Colin Best came back from injury, and then it was obviously between myself and Jamie Simpson to who's going to get dropped. But I ended up staying in the side because I played
scored
on the right
3
side.
tries. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that too. But at the same time, you don't do that every week. I was right place, right time. But we weren't going too well that year as a club, and I think Langy sort of took to just like a young guy coming through, bit
build
of buzz,
him up.
like a bit of buzz, and
Yep.
we weren't looking like we had a chance to make the semis, but we weren't in the best position.
So why not develop a young guy kind of thing?
Yeah, so it was like I was playing the next week, but we couldn't have had a worse game to play, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're playing Melbourne, down at Melbourne.
Oh.
So second game in a row.
Hardest game you'll play.
I'm marking up against Greg Inglis, the
No
best
way.
centre in the game.
Best centre ever nearly.
Yeah,
probably actually.
Yeah, and here I am marking up against him, and I remember there was a bit of talk of him not playing for injury, and I'm thinking, fuck, how good's this? Please don't play. I'd love to play because at the time he was my favourite player at the time.
But English, man. People get how good he is.
Yeah, it's I remember going, fuck, I'd love to play. It'd be awesome, but I'm not ready to play you, man.
Bro, I still got a chip too from when he fended my face. Swear to God, back there.
Yeah, that's he. So there was a bit of talk, and then I ended up finding out, no, he's playing, and everyone was like, he's playing. I was like, and I just sort of took a bit of a challenge, right? Well, if you want to play first grade, you're
gonna have to match up.
If you're not ready to play now, you're not ready to play at all. So I was just like, sweet. I remember my first run. Like my go-to at the time was like a skip out with a fend, and I'm thinking this guy's probably done homework. I got the ball, I tried to right foot him, he absolutely creamed me. I was like, and I remember getting up playing the ball, just going, and he gave me like a little bit of a rub in the face.
Yeah, you knew, bro. You're getting no face work.
I do that like if someone did that sort of now in my career, like if I was still playing, I'd take to it. Yeah, I'd be blowing up, like a little bit of a short fuse with that sort of thing. But like at that time, I'm just like, man, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, it's GI, bro.
Yeah, well, Greg, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I just remember getting up playing the ball going, you should have just took him on the outside. Like, at least gave it a crack. That's your go-to. Like, just do it.
Just do it, yeah.
We ended up just losing to him, which was like a massive effort from us.
Like,
we lost. We had a chance to almost score on the bell again, but we dropped it. And that was a good game. But I actually played like really well. Like I sort of like, I remember a couple of times he got the ball against me one-on-one, and like, I was never going high. I just kept chopping him. Like
100% go low as can.
And I remember I did a really good job. And next week, come around and
that would have built your confidence.
Yeah, it helped heaps. So next week, come around, we're playing Penrith. It's funny, like the first 5 games I played, every single centre was like a gun. Like, and I'm like, can I like? I mean, there's no easy centres in there.
But still, there's like different levels.
So it was Chris Lawrence, then it was Greg Inglis, then it was Michael Jennings, then it was Tamana Tahu, then it was Matt Cooper. That was my first 5 games. And, like, all these guys have all played for Australia.
Yep.
Like, so the next week, though, Bo Champion was back from his injury. So I got put back to 20s.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, he goes, but I'm going to take his 18th man. And I said, all right. And then just before kickoff, he goes, no, I'm going to play you.
What?
And I was like, what? And so he ended up dropping one of the forwards from the bench. He goes, I'm going to have you on the bench.
Really?
And I was like,
wow.
he ended up like having a speech to the team. He goes, right, boys, like, had you on his 18th man, but the last 2 weeks, none of you can doubt it. Like he's performed really well, and his energy has been outstanding. And everyone was like, "Yeah, that's fine." Like,
who's the poor bloke that got dropped?
I think it was either Craig Stapleton or Gareth Crossman.
He'd be filthy. He'd be like, "What? What did I do to deserve to get dropped?"
It worked out perfect for the club though, because the first half, Bo Champion broke his leg.
Oh, okay,
so that's why I played the rest of the year too.
Yeah,
like,
okay.
I played from an injury. Then I played again the next week. He was still injured. I wasn't meant to play the next week, but he ended up just playing me off the bench because a bit, young energy. And then he ended up breaking his leg, so I played the next 2 weeks.
Yep.
And then that same year, like the same year I'm playing, on every tackle, I'm like sometimes I'd make a big tackle, my whole arm would go numb. This is like my debut year. Because the week before I debuted, I had off in the under-20s because I hurt my shoulder. And then, so I got to the end of the year, they sent me for scans, and they were like, "Oh mate, I had like no cartilage left on my
Yeah, mine kept popping out too on my debut year.
Yeah, so I had no cartilage left. It would just kept going numb. Didn't pop out, just kept going numb.
Yep.
Our under-20s team at the time got the minor premiership, so we were killing it.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, and I wanted to, obviously, I was eligible to go back and play the final series for the 20s, but the club, they pulled me aside and said, look, mate, I know you want to play 20s,
first grade now,
but
kind of thing.
Yeah, you're playing first grade now.
Yeah.
We want you ready for, basically said, we want you ready for round 1 next year. You're getting your shoulder done now. And I was like you just say, first grade, you want to play first grade.
Yep.
So I just sit on the sidelines and watch the 20s that year.
And they won it? Did you say they won it?
They lost the grand final.
Lost the grand final.
Won
Lucky
a
you didn't play
premiership,
then.
lost the grand final.
Okay, so the next year, you extend your contract with the Rabbitohs?
Yeah, extended. Oh, so I had 1 more year left. And then, so the year after 2011, I extended it for 2 more years.
Yep.
Under Michael Maguire. Oh, did I extend it? Yeah, under Michael Maguire. And then 2014 come around and the year of 2014 was approaching and I ended up signing with the Dragons.
What prompted that, do you reckon?
I always said to my manager, like, so I was loving my time at the club. They treated me well since 16, since I got shafted from the juniors there. So I'd been treated well, like, they went above and beyond for me in so many ways, and I'll always be thankful for that. I'll always have a soft spot for Souths. Even now, like, I probably support those guys in the NRL. Like, I don't really have like a team now. As a kid, I was a Broncos fan. Go play at Souths, you love Souths, you hate everyone else. You play at the Dragons, it's like, I still love Souths, but like, I'm at the Dragons now, so I've got to be a Dragons. Yeah. But now it's like, I don't really have one, but like Souths will always have that sort of, I spent 6 years there, probably like you with the Broncos.
Yeah, Broncos was always my team. 100%.
So, obviously, one of my best mates, Josh Starling's at Newcastle, so I'll support him. Nathan Pete's at the Gold Coast, I'll support him.
Yep.
Then, so, like,
are you stoked that's for him, Origin?
Yeah, man, so happy.
He's like, Origin made, I reckon.
Just, you don't train what he has, Like, there might be players a bit more talented, but man, he's got ticker. He's tough as nails. Like,
100%.
Yeah, he's that's Origin is his arena, man. And I wish him all the best. I hope he does. Awesome.
I think that he'll excel in Origin too. Like, I think that it'll give him confidence. That just that little. Some players, like, they just give him that little bit of extra confidence of, like, you're an Origin now, you're an Origin player, and especially at hooker, because you need a bit of that confidence. You need, like, you're a really, really good player, and I think, I hope anyway. Well, actually, I don't hope because I'm a Queenslander, but from a fan's perspective with footy, I think that it'll really bump his performance even higher, kind of thing.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, so you decided you just wanted to come to the Dragons because that's your home where you're from?
Yeah, so I said to Dave Farrell as my manager at the time, and I just said, look, mate, if I want to stay here. I was almost pen to paper to re-sign with Souths. Like, I was like, I'm happy to stay here, but I always told him over the years, if I ever leave, Dragons would be like number one priority. Like, if Souths don't offer me something, like, see if there's something at the Dragons, But then he sort of came back with an offer from the Dragons that was, it was an extra year on my contract, and it was like, over the 3 years, it was like an extra $200,000. Like, you can't really knock that money back. Cause I wanted to stay. Like, if I was single, I would have stayed. But man, I had a missus, like 2 kids. That decision.
You've got to make those decisions for your family, kind of thing.
So it was like, it was a lot of money over 3 years, more extra year security. And funny enough, it worked out being the right decision as far as my injury came. Like, so I got that extra year on my contract, and so I ended up coming back here, and it was a chance to move home. I'd been away since I was 16, and it was a chance to move home as a 24-year-old and or 22-year-old.
Yep.
And moved here to Wollongong, lived in Shellharbour for a bit.
Yep. So what's like over your career? What do you reckon have been your favourite moment?
You can't beat your debut, like just your first game. Even if I didn't score the 3 tries, like, it's like you're a kid. You want to play
feeling.
one game. Like, it's like, so that was hard to beat. What else was there? Probably, funny enough, we played at Wynn Stadium here. My first game at Wynn, so I never played there through the 20s. Then I played there 2011 against the Dragons. We ended up like, we were getting flogged, man, at half-time, like 20-8. We ended up coming back and winning, and I scored 3 tries that game too, in front of, like, family. 50 of my family members. Like, it was like 50 mates and friends come up there, because not many boys in my team needed tickets for that game. So I remember I got like 26 tickets, and then half, like, my little cousins already had their junior passes, so they all came up. They got a big bus up, and I remember just going up to see them after that game, and that was outstanding.
And who's the best player that you've ever played with? That you kind of, not the obvious question. Oh, it can be an obvious question, answer, sorry. But who's the best player you've ever played with, you reckon?
Yeah, so talent-wise, like a Billy, Greg Inglis, hard to go past him. That 1 year after I played against him, he ended up signing with the club, and I was like, how good's this? I don't have to play against him again.
Yeah.
That was like my favourite part of it. But
did you spray him about facial palming you?
Nah. Actually, I remember I had a bit of a laugh about it at the start. But like when he first came, man, he's pretty quiet, old Greg. Like, so when he first came to the club, I was like a bit like, fuck, it's Greg Inglis. Like, I didn't really like go out of my way because I'd only played 5 NRL games. Like, I wasn't like going to come out and go, hey, man, like, where are you? So I remember I did mention it to him. He just had a little giggle.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if he probably didn't even remember it, but yeah, that was pretty funny. So ability wise, talent, him easy. And I've said it, and I've like said it before to friends of no disrespect to Greg, but if he had like the attitude of like a Jonathan Thurston,
or a Lockie or something,
untouchable, man.
Yeah,
like his strength, like speed, like he's a different breed of person, man.
Yeah.
He's what he could do. It's just unbelievable. But I just think that's sometimes, he's competitive.
It's like a double-edged sword. Like he's so good that he hasn't had to work as hard as other guys.
Yeah, that's sort of
because he's so good. It's like whereas like if he it's kind of like weird. If he was like 5% not as good, he might be 10% better because he's
trying.
He would try. But like for example, Origin, he'll rock up in Origin and just be like, I'm turning on today and play ridiculous.
Yeah, well who like New South Wales for 10 years has picked a back or their back line to suit him. Like they don't pick the best attacking right centre in the comp. They pick someone who they
so
you know what
true.
I mean? Like
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, they pick and an edge. Like I remember that Bo Scott, he wasn't a centre, but they put him there because he was a great defensive player.
Yeah, they were just trying to stop Greg Inglis.
Basically, so it wasn't like
crazy.
Let's try fight fire with fire. It's like let's do whatever we can to stop this guy. Like,
and there's nothing
if
you
you
can
see
do.
his like highlights of his Origin highlights, which I'm sure you have.
Oh my god!
Like he ruined some wingers' Origin careers.
Yeah, that's so true. You know actually, 100. You're 100% right. Like, and that's no disrespect to anyone involved, but he genuinely did. He was so good on those nights that people were like, to whatever winger it was, they were just like, they're just not up to scratch. Like they just can't play.
And like. You go into a game, as I said, that second game, I'm like, when I'm off my game, I'm like, oh my God, I'm playing against Greg Inglis. I never did that for any other player.
Yep.
Like, there was a lot of talented players, but he's a player that intimidated me to play against. Like, any other player, but he actually, like, was intimidating. Not because, like, he'll punch in the face, just because he could put his palm through your chest and, like, make an idiot out of you. Like, no one wants to be made an idiot out of, like, you know what I mean? Just not cleaning your ass and he'll just score a try over you. Like, that's
so true. And it's also like, what can you do when he wants to? What can you do to stop him? Like, what can you do if he's on? There is not a defender in the world that can stop him 100% of the time.
Man, because when he first came to the club, obviously NRL got really big on their wrestling.
Yeah,
I remember like I'll be wrestling with him sometimes, and if there wasn't like that's the thing with it. If there was no one watching,
you just chill,
be mucking around.
Yeah.
Like, and I'll be like, I'm like trying to go my hardest, man, and I'm not a bad wrestler. Like I'm
go all right.
I consider myself all right. And if he wanted to, he'd just like say someone would look at bang, and like I'm like doing my best to hold him down, and he could just like one-handedly throw me off. And I'm like, that's why when I look at him now, sometimes when he gets like a slow play the ball, I'm like, what are you doing, man? Like, I know for a fact you can get out of that. Like
it's crazy.
That's all. So like ability wise, there's none better than him.
Greg Inglis,
but playing against obviously. You play the Cowboys and Thurston's just buzzing here, there, and everywhere. It's like
he's just always there, eh?
And then obviously Melbourne, like
as a team,
he's just as a hook. Like, I mean, he's a hooker, so I didn't have to deal with him much at centre.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, he's a hooker, and I'm at centre worrying about him because I'm like, is he going to kick at this side? Is he going to run that side? Is he going to put a play on this side? Like,
yeah, that's so true.
Going to swing late.
Yeah.
Like whereas other halves or other hookers,
you're not thinking about him at all.
No.
Yeah.
Because he's got different plays, different angles in his head, and like I know he does because I watch a lot of video. Like
and his flow of the game is unbelievable. Yeah, like he can just feel it.
I hate his guts, man. He's a Queenslander. Like I hate his guts, and I hate still now I watch him in tackles always 1 or 2 seconds longer.
And he just gets
just
away with it. It's so good. I love it. I'm a Queenslander.
He somehow hangs on or somehow gets his arm stuck. It just kills me. It's like, I hate his guts, but
hate him and love him at the same time.
He's just too good.
That's so funny, bro. That's so funny. He's just, when you talk about masterminds of the game, he is a mastermind of rugby league.
Smartest. He's got to be the smart. Like, obviously,
probably the smartest ever to play.
That's what I mean. He's got to be the smartest.
He's a grandmaster when it comes to footy, 100%.
So there's not much of him. Like, he'll probably run 40 seconds in like 12 seconds.
It's like the Tom Brady of NRL. That's what he is.
Yeah, man.
He's the Tom Brady of NRL.
Got all the tools.
Fuck, it's so true, man. Yeah. So true. Okay, so ask all the boys his favourite rapper of all time.
Favourite rapper? It's funny. I was sort of thinking about that the other day. I seen some meme and it made so much sense to me. It's like lyrically, Eminem.
100%.
Flow, Biggie.
Yep.
And then raw like feel for it, Tupac, man.
That's true. Yep, you're 100% right. Yep.
I loved Eminem's lyrics as a kid, like, and so many of his songs I could like sing along to.
Yep.
But then like the flow, Biggie would have you, bopping your head.
For your dance and like club and shit.
Tupac's like, he'd be singing about his mum and that, and you'd be like, reminiscing, you know
what
I mean?
100%, 100%.
It's hard to, like, I couldn't narrow it down to one.
Imagine if you could mould them into one rapper.
Yeah.
Oh, who's stupid.
Yeah.
Who's stupid. Craziest injury you've ever seen playing with? Your back.
Yeah, no. So I wouldn't say responsible, but when Gerard Yo-Yo broke his leg, I'm the guy that landed on his leg. So,
really?
Yeah, I caught the bomb, landed on his knee, which then pushed his ankle through his foot, and I was like at the time I didn't see it straight away because he winded me.
Yeah. And
I'm like, I'm rolling over, like sort of through the ball to the side. And then I remember looking at his sock and I went, oh no.
Fuck. Did that rattle you a bit?
Yeah,
when his career ended?
Yeah, 100%. I was like, fuck. Like, I felt so bad for him. And I remember I wanted to contact him that a few times, but I wasn't sure whether to do it or not. So I was
it's like you didn't want to be.
Yeah, I didn't want to be like, I didn't want to be like, oh, it's my fault. But at the same time, I was like genuinely worried. Like,
yeah,
I mean, he was an Australian winger at the time. You know, this was just a freak accident. I remember that's probably something I regret. I don't think I did contact him. I probably should have, but yeah, like that was probably easy.
It's a tough situation. Like, what do you say? Like, I'm sorry,
I didn't know what to say. Like, I didn't know if I should
say. You can't say sorry because it's not your response. Like,
it was weird. It was weird. And then it sort of just went over real quick, and then it was sort of a bit of talk about him coming back. So I was like, oh, it's all good. And then when I found out, he's done, I was like, oh fuck, that's no good.
Yeah, fuck, that's crazy, man. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, that was probably that's the worst one I've probably seen.
What about like played on with like one of the boys like broken nose or broken wrist or anything like that?
Yeah, I had this one in my head. I was talking about it. I can't remember. It's like I know Pete's. I know he's he done his elbow. I remember him doing his elbow. Oh, actually, I didn't. No, I was watching that game. Fuck. Who?
So good. Biggest prank, funniest prank between the boys of all time.
I knew this question was going to come, man, and this would be so. I was a bit of a just a little, putting the cups on the lockers.
Yeah.
Sort of, like just the little niggly stuff. But
the niggly stuff.
Yeah, this one year at South, it was 2013, I think. We found out about this app, man. It was called Message X. Me and another mate, Mitch Bucket. He was with us at the time. He's playing up at Wynnum Manly in the Q Cup, and. So the thing with it is you can message any number you want, but you can put down what it comes up in their phone. So we're at the club. And we tested it, and it legit worked. Like we checked our phones. Like we ended up spending like $50 this day to get this going. We done our army camp over the preseason. When you do your army camps, you have all these talks of like being mates, just doing it, like getting the job done no matter where you are, whatever.
Yep.
We sent a text around one by one to the boys that we could see at the time from Maguire, the coach, Michael Maguire, telling him to do something random like, right, hey, like I think Appy Coruscant might have been the first one we got. We said, Appy, it's Madge, just coming back from the army camp. On top of it, I don't want you to say a word to anyone. I just want you to get on the floor and do like 20 push-ups right now. Don't say a word to anyone. If anyone asks you anything, don't even reply to it. Just do your 20 push-ups, get up, sit down. Anyway, so we've sitting there, we've sent him the text, and he's got his phone. And he's looking at it, and he's looking around. He's looking around, and he's like, what the fuck? He gets up, walks over to the bathroom, and I thought, oh, he didn't do it. What a prick.
Yeah.
And then, so we sent it again to the next bloke, and it was like someone else, and I think it might have been Bryson Goodwin. It was like 10 burpees or something. He gets his phone, he's like, fuck, and he's looking around again, and puts his phone down, does 10 burpees, man. This is in the dressing sheds. And then boys looking at him going, what's going on, man? I mean, bucket up. And I was like, what are you doing, man? And he's just like, oh, no, nothing, bro. And then but this went on for a while, like, and then it sort of got around, and we sort of sent a couple of boys there together, so we'd send it to them, and then they'd look at each other and go, what the fuck? And then they'd just start doing it. Anyway, I remember it sort of, word got around. I sent it to a couple of boys in the gym. There'd be someone in the gym, they'd on the music, then they'd check their phone, what the fuck? They'd start doing 30 push-ups or whatever. And like, we're losing our shit, man. This is so funny. Yeah. The boys sort of start to click on, not that we're doing it, but that the messages are going around.
Something's going on.
I remember Johnny Sutton was one of them. He was like, I remember going, fuck, I ain't doing that shit. Like seeing people doing push-ups, I'm not fucking doing that shit. And I was just laughing, going, well, no, I don't know what's going on. Sure enough, Sutto got his message and he went, oh, fuck. And he started doing it.
Oh, so he said he wouldn't do it.
Yeah, he said he wouldn't do it because he wouldn't have known it was coming from Madge's number, you know?
Yeah,
and it was just after the army camp where you...
everyone's rock solid. You're
like,
doing anything for the boys.
You got to do it. And then, but to sort of end it, we sent it to about 10 blokes. And we said, don't say a word. Walk out onto the field right now. Most of us were eating lunch. Walk out into the field. You're gonna meet 8 other blokes out there. You don't know who they are. You're gonna meet them there. Do a pyramid. Get your shirts off and do a pyramid. So there's 9 of them, man, walking out to the field, and we're just looking at each other. And we just started doing this pyramid, and that's when me and Bucket have like lost it and gone, mate, this is too good. Like, we're in stitches.
Yeah.
Like, we ended up like having a meeting with Mary, like the team, and he was like, not Mary, sorry, Madge, and he's just like, yeah, look. It was a bit of fun. It was a bit of joke. It was harmless. He goes, but that's also proved we've got to be careful, boys. Like, blah, blah, blah. If this message thing can happen. I was like, yeah, but if they reply, it replies to our phone. Yeah. So it's not like, it's dangerous, but it's not too bad because it goes back to the phone anyway. Yeah,
so it goes back to yours. Yeah, so but like, just imagine like some dude pretended to be a
chick
or something.
It was so funny. But we just,
God.
It was, I've done a few little pranks and that, but that was so
That's
funny.
All time like that. How long did it last?
Went for about an hour and a half. And this is like, we almost got the whole team to do like something stupid, whether it was burpees or squats or push-ups, and like I remember we were going to end up doing worse stuff, but we ended up going, no, we don't want to take it too far.
Yeah, don't take it too far.
It was so funny, man.
Fuck, that's fucking crazy.
It was the best,
favorite movie of all time?
Hard to go past the good old. I love Shooter, Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, Shooter, okay, all right, Mark, he's a man. But
man, any Denzel film,
he's a man.
Except
he's
for
also
his new one, man. Wow.
What was that?
Fences.
Then you didn't like Fences?
No, did you like it?
Bro, yeah, 100%. It rattled me psycho. It was so.
Man, he didn't move. Like, he sat in his backyard and he was.
It's a play. It's like it's a play that they turned into a movie. It's like really artsy.
Yeah, man, it was terrible.
Yeah, see, I love that shit.
Nah,
I love that shit.
So, Mark Wahlberg, Denzel, love them as actors, but they've got both of them have a movie each that I like.
Hate.
Wish they didn't make.
What's one for Mark Wahlberg?
The Happening.
Yeah, that is.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, it's like nothing.
He's the biggest bitch in it. Like, it's so weird. Like, it's so weird. And I remember watching it going, mate, Marky Mark, what are you doing here, man?
It's Marky Mark, bro. Like, it's Marky Mark.
You don't even have to read the heading of their movies. You know it's going to be a good movie. Usually. But,
Denzel especially. Denzel especially. He's got
down to movies like The Pelican Brief. Like, no one probably knows what that is, you know, but it's still a great movie. It's like Denzel.
He can do. Is it John Q? That's
outstanding. His son needs a heart transplant. Like,
it's unbelievable.
So good.
If you could have a billboard anywhere saying anything, what would it be?
Billboard anywhere saying anything. Jeez, that's a tough one. That one. Wouldn't mind having one where the big Coke sign is at the cross.
Yeah, that's someone else has said that too. It's a great spot.
If you think of a billboard, that's the only billboard I can think of. What would it say?
F45 an hour.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Just back in your days when you were shredded as, just ready to go.
Yeah, I've never been shredded, bro.
I've been really?
Dog's body blokes.
Dog's body?
Yeah, 100%.
One of those just long, strong dudes.
Yeah, always been a good trainer. Like, always been like really fit, but terrible body.
Oh, really?
Oh, that's all good.
Condolences, bro. Condolences. Condolences. All right, bro. We've actually been going for an hour and 21 minutes. Yeah. Goes fucking quick, But thank you so much for coming on, bro. And I hope everything gets sorted for you. I mean,
thanks, bro.
You know, it's crazy, but thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
Too easy. Thanks, bro.
Boom.
What's up, guys? Love the locker room, enjoy a punt, and you're looking for a way to support the show, but also join the best punting experience in Australia? Inbox me for details on how to get started.